What can you do right now to stay focused, improve your process, and grow your business? Find out this and more with Top Producer Roundtable, hosted by Gibran Nicholas, CEO of CMPS Institute.
Welcome to the Top Producer Roundtable show, produced exclusively for Mortgage News Network. My name is Gibran Nicholas, and I'll be your host as we learn best practices from some of the top producing loan originators from all over the country. I have with me today a special guest. Her name is Dianne Crosby, one of the nation's top producing loan originators, having closed an average of over $150 million a year in loan volume each year for the past 3 years. So welcome, Dianne. We're really honored and privileged to have you as a guest with us today. One of the things I wanted to chat with you about is how you stand apart from the other originators. I mean, everyone else right now is selling pretty much the same products, but what I've found is that different people bring a unique process to getting loans closed. And it seems to me that you have it down pat. I mean, you've got a really good system in place. So if you can talk to us a little bit about some of the top one or two things that you do that are very unique that not a lot of other people are doing right now when it comes to the loan process.
It's great for me. It makes me kind of think, what is my process and how can I share that with you? If I can't communicate it, I might have forgotten, but we're very intricate at the front of the process for each buyer. And, I'll focus on home buyers here, although this week it's about refinances. Really, in general, our business, we like to think of it as a business of helping people get into their home with financing that they like, that they, understand, hopefully. But the internet's playing a big role, and I have people who call me up and they want to say, I'd like to get pre-approved. What are your rates? And I try my best to bring them in and personally meet with me. I'm increasing the use of other methods, telephone, video a little bit, but really it's about that first encounter and setting expectations. When a client approaches me to be pre-approved for financing, I start with an interview that is there to ferret out their questions and find out how ready they are to go all the way through with the process. As we all know, it takes a lot to get a loan pre-approval now. It's the underwriting is huge. So I ask people up front to provide as much of the documentation as I'm going to need for submission. And I preview everything during the first part of our meeting with the client, kind of glance over, we look over pay stubs, W-2s. If they're self-employed, we open up the Schedule C. And then I let them know that if they choose to work with me, I'm going to be pre-underwriting their file. And that means by pre, what I mean is everything up to the point of putting in a home address, ratified a contract, and preliminary title report. Everything else will be done. Verification of employment and so on is handled up front with us. Clients who meet with me and understand this appreciate that when they write an offer, that offer letter, that pre-approval letter I provide is going to be basically written in, indelible ink. It's assurance that they can get financing for that home. As a strategic move, this is great when the listing agent calls me, because I can say to them, I have completely reviewed all documentation relevant to this file. I can vouch for this client. Inevitably, we'll have interacted a lot because people never bring us all their stuff at once. We'll have talked about strategy and so on. So it's a very thorough process.
Well, that's really, really good. In fact, I got three major pieces of information out of what you just said. The first is, I think, meeting with them face to face. Not a lot of people do that nowadays. And I think what it has the result of doing is cementing sort of that personal connection that you have with the borrower from the get-go. And I think that's a really good strategy, meeting with somebody face-to-face. The second thing you said, I think that was very impressive, was setting expectations. Because especially if someone hasn't purchased a home in many years, they're not used to the cumbersome, paperwork-intensive process of 2015. And so setting the expectations initially, I think, is crucial. And then the third thing you said that I think was very impressive was the actual pre-underwriting process itself, where you're getting all that done ahead of time before the loan even goes into underwriting, which certainly I think is really good because it helps you address any potential issues in the beginning. And then this becomes part of your unique selling proposition as you're talking to various real estate agents and other strategic partners who may be out there.
I had clients come in on Wednesday night, a couple nights ago, and they wanted an evening meeting. I am always available for evening and weekend meetings by appointment. And they arrived with a packet of information, and it was neatly tabbed. I could tell they had gathered up their documentation. But one of the first things that the woman said was, we're going to give this to a lot of loan agents. And I just looked at her and I said, that's your private, precious information. Don't do that. Give it to the loan agent you've chosen, because that is you in neatly tabbed, organized form. Meet us, choose who you want to work with, and then divulge your private information. She appreciated that. She didn't know that was the system. She kind of seemed to think that she could continue to look for lenders and that she would be giving this up. I just don't want people to have to do that, let alone running their credit report. When they have multiple lenders do that, it's not good for them.
Right. So I think what you're saying here, in one sense, is also from a privacy standpoint, from the consumer's perspective, especially in the age of Facebook and having all of our information out there for the world to see, you're taking a more conscientious approach, telling someone, listen, this is very sensitive information. I'm going to take really good care of it. And it might be a good idea for you also to take as good of a care of it as I'm going to take. And not to share it with just anyone who's out there. So again, Dianne, I very much appreciate your time today and taking some time out of your busy schedule to share with us these very valuable insights.
It's my pleasure.
Top Producer Roundtable airs every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time and can be viewed on MortgageNewsNetwork.com.
Oh my gosh.
This is Mortgage News Network.